What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. It's that time again for our full set review, this time of the new Disney Plus Next Phase set, starting off, as always, with the commons. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First of all, we have the common She-Hulk. She's coming in at either 75 or 50 points. She has Obamastay, Avengers, Brute, and Celebrity keywords, and the team player team ability. She has a special defense power that gives her invulnerability and willpower. So yeah, that's pretty much it. She's just a good, cheap little close attacker. You know, not too bad for a common. Just charge, perplex, super strength to pick up something and hit somebody with it. It's pretty good for 75 points. Otherwise, you got some sidestep, quake, close combat expert, so she can still hit 11 for 4. And or just quake a bunch of people. And I do like the invul and willpower, so she can, potentially keep taking tokens off herself. And you can do some cool things with the team player team ability. And then, of course, she does have some regen on the back half, so not too shabby. Nothing too crazy, though, that's for sure. She's all around pretty decent, for like sealed or whatever, but even as far as pulp games, there's probably better close attackers. The only real bonus she's going to give you is that her name is She-Hulk, so when we get to the uncommons in the next video, there is a Jennifer Walters that can come in off the sideline when one of her She-Hulks is KO'd, so that's pretty neat. But moving right along, and next up we have Kate Bishop, the common version, and again, pretty simple common figure here. She has Marksman, Young Avengers, Martial Artist, and Spy keywords, and just has a trait that says adjacent friendly characters with the Marksman keyword can use enhancement. For 40 points, not too bad. 5 range, double target, stealth, 11 attack, 3 damage, some super senses. So she's pretty well defended. So I'd like to give her the motorcycle from Wheels of Vengeance because it would give her a running shot and also passenger 1, so she could carry somebody with her. And if they have the Marksman keyword, then she's going to give them enhancement. She could be pretty much running shotting like 11 for 4 for 40 points, not too bad. Well, 55, I guess, at that point with the motorcycle. So, nothing too crazy, but if you do play her on a marksman team, you can give your whole entire team enhancement, which if you stay kind of grouped up, that could be a ton of extra damage. So I feel like on a full marksman team, she could have some potential there. Anyway, moving along next, we have the Clint Barton common version. I do like the sculpt on this guy. I love his new suit that he got in the show, so it is great to see that in Click's form. But taking a look at his card here, he has Avengers Initiative team ability, so he can see through hindering terrain, which is really great, being a primarily ranged attacker, and the shield team ability, so he can, up the range values of our adjacent friendlies and potentially give them more damage. But then you have Avengers, Marksman, Shield, Martial Artist, and Spy keywords, and a trait that gives him free choose an attack power on Clint Barton's card. This turn, he can use the chosen power. So that's really awesome. He has Penetrating Blast to start with, but he also goes into some Energy Explosion and Precision Strike. So you'll be able to pick and choose any of those to combo together. And I think, Penetrating Blast and Energy Explosion is going to be a good one to start with. But you can always pick that Precision Strike for those pesky Super Sense characters. Honestly, I think for 50 points, he's probably the best one we've seen so far. He's got 8 movement, running shot, 6 range, 11 penetrating blast for 3 damage, and a 17 defense with energy shield deflection, so pretty well defended at range. He's got 2 good team abilities. He can kind of pick a power, and he can see through hindering, too, when making range attacks. So he's actually really awesome, and yeah, definitely the best common so far. But up next here, we do have Miss Marvel in her, classic costume, I guess. I don't know, not really her classic costume, but more like her Miss Marvel cosplay that she wore in the first episode or 2 of the show. But taking a look at her card here, Young Avengers, Celebrity, Cosmic, and Podcaster keywords. Very interesting. I'd love to see more podcaster characters, because I think we just have her and her super rare version and the Scott Crampton Pog, so I can't wait to see what other podcasters we might have. I guess technically you also have the Scott Porters because they can get any keyword. Also the old Miss Marvel super rare from Avengers 60th can also get any keywords. So I guess you'll pretty much just have to do a lot of keyword cheating for now if you want to do a podcaster theme team. But anyway, she has a defense power that gives her barrier and toughness, and Miss Marvel may take ranged terrain actions as free, but only to attack with markers she generated. And she does have telekinesis, so that is what allows her to make ranged terrain actions as if she was holding a piece of terrain within her range and line of fire, which of course for TK would be minimum 4. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Just sidestep TK, shape change, barrier, toughness for 35 points, improved movement for elevated as well. Not too shabby. She is a great little support piece. And I think she'd be pretty great in sealed just for a cheap barrier, and being able to then throw one of them at somebody is pretty great too. And also the cheap TK on top of it is really great for sealed, and maybe have a little bit of potential as far as pulp games go as well. I mean, 35 points isn't that much, and she does give you TK and barrier, and she's got shape change and toughness. She got like 5 clicks of health, sidestep to move around, improve movement elevated. Yeah, she's got a lot going on for 35 points. Honestly, I can't say she's bad at all. I think she's probably the best support character we've seen so far. And I would definitely try her out sometime. But moving on next, we have one of my all-time favorites, Moon Knight. And I do love the sculpt on this guy. Looks like it's right out of the show. It looks really, really good. And I love the fact that he's a shifting focus, which is like all I was hoping for from this set, just a shifting focus Moon Knight. So he does have Mystic's team ability, which is amazing. Herald, Mystical, Soldier, and Warrior keywords. And his first trait says when Moon Knight hits after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to a hit character. That's great. Get some extra free damage in, especially good against characters with stop clicks. So you could hit somebody like for 3 damage and then deal them another penetrating to, KO them after they hit their stop. And yes, I'm talking to you, white shirt Scott Porter. So obviously there's a few other characters that, you can kind of play around with that too, to KO them after their stop clicks and everything. And I think that's really cool. And even if you don't do something crazy like that, just an extra free damage is always nice. But then he has the free shifting focus ability there that if you begin your turn on the map, you can replace him with another character with this trait on the same click number. So you can swap to the Mr. Knight we'll take a look at in a second. But coming in at 60 or 25 points, you got running shot, 4 range, double target with an 8 movement, 11 attack, 2 damage with range combat expert. So it'd be 12 for 3, potentially 4 if he hits because of his first trait that does an extra penetrating. And 18 defense with energy shield is pretty high from range. So I think he's a pretty good attacker for 60 points. And for 25 points, not too bad either. Sidestep, he's still got 4 range, double target, 10 attack, precision strike, and 3 damage. And if he hits, he's doing an extra penetrating. So potential to do 4 damage on his 25-point line is pretty crazy. And plus he's got Mystics, so even if they hit him, they're taking a Mystics for it. So not too bad at either point line. I think both of them are pretty playable, and they both look fun. But moving on next here, we have his other version, Mr. Knight, the shifting focus. His other alternate personality also. So taking a look at his card here, he also has Mystics, which is great. Herald, Mystical, Scientist, and Warrior keywords instead of Soldier. So a little bit different keywords there. You kind of cheat him onto 2 different teams that way. But he also has a trait that when Mr. Knight hits after resolutions, give each hit opposing character an action token. So similar to dealing a free penetrating damage, but that's a hit character gets a penetrating damage. This is each hit opposing character gets an action token. So that's pretty great because he also has 2 targets, but he doesn't have any range. However, he does have Quake, so he can charge Quake with an 11 attack or use his Perplex to up it to 12 and Quake a whole group of enemies and then give them all an action token on top of it. That seems pretty great to me. And he, of course, still has the shifting focus ability to swap to the other one. And for 25 points, you've got Sidestep, Blades, 18 toughness, 2 damage. So, if he rolls Blades, he could do some big damage and give him an action token. Otherwise, nothing too crazy. I think I like him better at 60 points for sure because of that action token Quake. That's pretty great, and especially with his built-in Perplex, he could get a 12 attack really easy there. So I love the Moon Knights. I'm a little biased though. Big fan of Moon Knight. The show is amazing, and I think the shifting focus figures are pretty great. But next up, we have Kazzy, and I'll be honest, I don't really remember this guy. I'm pretty sure he was in the Hawkeye show, just based on some of his powers here. Fat man used cars. That would mean I think he worked for Kingpin, so I feel like he's probably in Hawkeye, but I don't remember this guy for some reason. Anyway, he's got Magia, Brute, and Martial Artist keywords, and he's got the Underworld team ability that gives him Passenger 1, but only to carry characters that share a keyword, or Passenger 2 to carry characters that share a keyword and are lower points. And he's 40 points, so he can carry a pretty decent amount of little minion dudes. But he's got Running Shot with 4 range double target and 11 attack precision strike. That's pretty great for 3 damage. And some leadership and willpower. Not bad at all. Then he goes into some stealth with combat reflexes and range combat expert. So he's a pretty good little range attacker and a taxi all at the same time. And yeah, not bad for 40 points. What more can you really ask for? Carry up the whole team, leadership and willpower tokens off, and then get some running shots in there. I think he'd be pretty great for sealed, and again, has some kind of pulp potential there, I think. If you're just looking for like a cheap taxi, leadership, and secondary attacker kind of character, he's your guy. Next up, though, we do have the Demon, and this dude's funny, just a creepy little demon guy. And you can summon these with one of the rare figures we'll see later on. So that is pretty awesome. But let's see here. He has the Demon Legion keyword, which is new to me. I'm honestly wondering if we're going to get some new, like a new undead set, because we got like a vampire keyword, I think a werewolf keyword, and now a demon keyword as well. So there's some very interesting things going on there. But yeah, he also has Monster and Mystical. Obviously, that's pretty much a given, I feel like, for most demons at this point. But this dude is only 15 points, just has Flight, Flurry, and tiny size with some shape change. 10 attack for 2 damage is not too bad with the Flurry, but if he takes a hit and doesn't die, he'll have an 11 attack for 3 damage. But he does have this awesome trait that says, at the beginning of your turn, Demon may deal 1 damage to an adjacent opposing character. And that's pretty great. As long as these guys survive the turn, if you can just drop a bunch of these next to people, that is a ton of free damage. So I think it'd be funny if you had like a Green Lantern or somebody that can carry like a ton of characters, and literally just move up with a huge horde of these things and just drop them on the enemy and be like, deal with it. If you can't kill all of these, you're taking like 8 clicks of damage next turn for free. That'd be pretty nuts. But yeah, that's pretty much all he does, just being an annoying little pest. But I think for 15 points, you know, they are pretty solid. Next up, we have Yelena, and she is in her like full stealth suit with the night vision goggles and everything, looking awesome. And she has the Marksman, Thunderbolts, Assassin, Martial Artist, and Spy keywords. And she's bringing the Target trait into this next set. We did see a lot of this Target trait in the Notorious set, and it's good to see it again. You love to see the continuation of a good trait. So if you don't know, at the beginning of the game, for all friendly characters with this trait, you can give a target token to an opposing character, and for all characters with this trait, when a friendly character with the Assassin keyword KOs an opposing character with a target token, score 25 victory points. So 25 is a lot of extra points just to have an Assassin KO somebody with the target token. So it would normally just be an extra 25 points in a game, which is nothing too crazy. But if you play her with some of the characters in Notorious, like Ra's al Ghul, he can create more targets for you, and that's pretty awesome. But yeah, she's got Charge, Stealth on her movement power, Improved Movement for Elevated, 6 movement, 11 attack precision, 3 damage, 18 combat reflexes. Is pretty good with the Stealth. But yeah, nothing too crazy there for 55 points. Just bring in that target trait and being a good stealthy little close attacker. So all around she's okay, but I will say there are better versions of her in this set for sure. Next we have the Tracksuit Mafia, and he's just got a baseball bat, and of course the classic tracksuit as they all wear. But this guy is coming in at either 50 or 15 points, very similar to the Notorious goons. And the reason for that is they have the expendable goon trait. So surprise, surprise, like I just said with the last one, you love to see the continuation of a good trait into further future sets. So like this one, he has Magia and Brute keywords and the Underworld team ability, which is great for the 15-point line with Sidestep. And let's see, for his expendable goon trait, when he's KO'd by an opposing character after resolutions, roll a d6. On a 1 through 3, choose a friendly character and move them 1 square, even if it's not your turn. And on a 4 through 6, generate a character with an expendable goon trait on his 15-point starting line adjacent to a friendly character. So that's awesome. Same thing, on a good roll, you get another goon in its place. And on a bad roll, you get to do something still, move a character a square out of the way, hopefully. But yeah, 50 points, Sidestep, Energy Explosion, Toughness, Empower, pretty meh. I think definitely play this guy at 15 points. You got Sidestep, Empower, Super Senses. You still got the Expendable Goon trait, the Underworld TA. So I think 15 points is definitely the way to go, just to get that Empower and Sidestep and carry people around with the Underworld TA is a lot of value for 15 points. But we keep it moving here. Next up, we have Emil Blonsky. So I was beginning to think we never see this guy in the MCU again, and when we least expect it, he did appear in the She-Hulk show, which I guess I wouldn't really say least expect it. If he's going to appear anywhere, it should be in a Hulk show of some sort, or a Hulk movie. But anyway, he does have the team player, team ability, so he's a wild card. He has Abominstay, Brute, Celebrity, and Monster keywords. Coming in at only 30 points, he does have the Abominstay Mindfulness trait that we will see on a lot of other characters in the set. And it's just free. Remove an action token from Emil Blonsky. If you do, give an action token to a friendly character with the Abominstay keyword within 4 squares. So lets you move your action tokens around to who you want to have them and who you don't want to have them. And I think that's a pretty interesting trait. But then he has a special damage power that gives him Empower and Leadership. And I think, 30 points for some Empower and Leadership isn't too bad. Sidestep, Incap, and Willpower for himself as well. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but again, just cheap Leadership, cheap Empower, Sidestep, so you can actually get adjacent to those characters you want him to get adjacent to for those powers. And he's a team player, so maybe he can copy a useful team ability as well. Not a bad way to spend 30 points. Next up, we have Hulk himself, and the Smart Hulk, of course, from the She-Hulk show. This guy has the Avengers, Brute, Celebrity, Monster, and Scientist keywords. Has the Avengers Initiative team ability, so he can see through hindering, which you might think doesn't matter, but it definitely matters for his outwit that he starts with on his 90-point line. So he can be outwitting some stealthy characters, but he is 90 or 50 points, and for 90 you've got Charge, Super Strength, Invincible, and Outwit, or for 50 you got Sidestep, Quake, Invincible, and Close Combat Expert. And yeah, not too bad. He does have improved movement to destroy blocking, which you love to see on a Hulk. Makes it very easy for him to move around. And I don't know, I like him at 90 because of the outwit that can see through hindering, and he can just charge through a wall, pick up something, and smack somebody, not too bad. And then 50 is not bad either, though. Just some Sidestep, Close Combat Expert, hitting for 11 for 4 damage isn't too bad. Got some regen to heal him up. Oh, but I almost totally forgot to talk about his trait here. That is a unique modifier when another friendly character that can use Super Strength or that has the Brute or Monster keyword hits. After resolutions, modify Hulk's attack +1 this turn. If that character was named She-Hulk, modify his attack +2 this turn instead. So he modifies his own attack value up if you have another friendly character with Super Strength or a Brute or Monster keyword that hits somebody, which is not too bad, but I wouldn't really rely on that too much. Overall, I would say he's a little too many points. I feel like if his dial was maybe like 75-40, then I could definitely see playing him more often. But all in all, he's all right. But moving on next, we do have Maya Lopez here, aka Echo, who just got her own show, which was a pretty interesting show. Honestly, I liked it up until like the last episode. The ending got a little weird for me, but it was a pretty cool show up until then, for sure. She does have Magia, Assassin, and Martial Artist keywords, the Underworld team ability, so she can carry some friendlies around with her. And she has a special attack power that says when Maya Lopez hits with a close attack, hit characters can't use attack powers until your next turn. So she can shut off attack powers. That could be pretty nice. And just has 0 range, double target with charge, 6 movement, 11 attack, 3 damage, 18 combat reflexes. So yeah, 55 points, 6 clicks of health. She's just your average close attacker there, just charging in there, hitting somebody, turning off their attack powers, and saying, hit me, I got a 20 defense up close. So again, not too bad, but not too crazy. Actually, I think on like a Magia team, with the Underworld TA, she could carry, some of the Tracksuit Mafia guys around, get some empower, so she can hit a little bit harder, so that's not too bad. But next up, we do have Baby Groot, and I love this common Baby Groot. I think it's actually very good for a little common shifting focus group. And I was pretty surprised to see shifting focus Groots, but it does make a lot of sense if they're gonna incorporate all the different Groots from his little episodes, his little short episodes, then, it makes sense that they're all shifting focus. You can swap between them and they all kind of do their own thing. And just the regular Baby Groot here is pretty great. Guardians of the Galaxy, Ravagers, Cosmic, and Pirate keywords. Has the Guardians TA as well, so his stats can't be reduced by opposing effects. Of course, like I said, he's shifting focus, so he's got shifting focus Baby Groot, or I Am Groot, I guess. So there's a rare one, and then there's 2 chase Baby Groots, and I think the one in the pizza box play-at-home kit type thing is also a shifting focus, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so you got a good amount of things to swap between. But I really like this guy. Free, choose one, generate a hindering terrain marker, or destroy all adjacent standard terrain markers. So the cool thing there is this dude can just take a free action to wipe away a barrier. Everything that's adjacent to him, every piece of barrier that's adjacent to him, just wipe it away. That's really, really good. And, on top of that, he's got a full dial of Empower, and some willpower and leap climb, so you can kind of just move around and either drop hindering so that you can have somebody with super strength pick it up, or have somebody with stealth sit in it and be stealthy, or whatever you might need it for, and then he can just run up there and just wipe away your opponent's barriers or other terrain markers that they've generated. So I think he's actually really good. I like him a lot for 40 points, and when you include all of the other things that he can do in his chase versions and the rare one and everything, he has quite a bit of utility. All right, next up at number 15 in the set is the Trick Arrow. So it does technically take up the spot of a common figure, which I think is very strange. But it is what it is. It does have a common tab, a white tab here on its base, but on the card, it has like a super rare, it's got that golden color for indicating a super rare. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but either way, like if they were trying to make it not be legal for pulp, it's not going to be anyway, because you can't equip things. Like there's no extra stuff for pulp no matter what. So I don't know if they were trying to make a common, easier to get equipment, but then make it not pulp legal, because it wouldn't be pulp legal anyway. Anyway, the point is, I just don't know why it's a common. I think it is cool though. It does make it easier to get. And this thing comes with 7 cards. So every time you pull this in a booster, it's going to come with all 7 different cards for all the different things that it can do. And that's really great because, it gives you a lot of options. But the fact that this is in a common slot means if you get a brick or a case, you're probably going to end up with more than one of this thing, which is fine because you can actually use more than one of these cards if you have them. So, for instance, I pulled 3 of these Trick Arrows throughout my opening stuff so far, and I'm going to keep those 3 because that way I have access to 3 of every card. And it has all the normal effects for, how you equip it at the beginning of the game with the qualifying name or keyword stuff. And then once per game when this is equipped, place up to 3 Trick Arrow cards face down. You may look at them. And then when this character hits, you may flip over a face down Trick Arrow card and perform its on reveal effect. So you get 3 cards that your opponent doesn't know what they do, and whenever you hit, you get to flip one over and activate its effects. So starting off with 15A, if we were to flip this over and reveal it when we hit with our equipped character, it has the on-reveal effect to generate up to 4 squares of hindering terrain markers in or adjacent to a hit target. And then at the beginning of your next turn, you remove these hindering terrain markers, and opposing characters occupying or adjacent to these hindering terrain markers must roll for breakaway and cannot automatically break away. So you can kind of lock somebody down, if it's like a close combat figure that has to charge or hypersonic to get in there and punch somebody. You can shoot them with the putty arrow, lock them in place. They have to break away, and they can't automatically break away. So that's really, really good at just slowing somebody down. Then next up for the 15B, it has on reveal, choose a hit character and all opposing characters adjacent to them. Give those characters an action token. Nothing too crazy there, but you could potentially action token your opponent's entire team, which is not bad at all, especially because you're still doing damage with it. But moving on to number 15C, effect on reveal, choose a hit character. This turn, if that character would reduce damage, they reduce damage by 1 less. That's not too crazy, but against something like the new Colossal Kong, that does have its advantages. Because, unless he hits his impervious roll, he's gonna only be reducing by 1 every time instead of 2. So if your whole team attacks him and you make sure to hit him with this first, you're gonna be able to do a ton more damage that turn than normally, especially on something like Kong, because he can reduce penetrating damage and you can't outwit him. So doing something like this can kind of help mitigate that a little bit and kind of get around it in some way, shape, or form. So that definitely has its uses. But then for arrow D, electrical, has the effect on reveal, choose a hit character instead of normal damage, deal 2 penetrating damage to the chosen character and up to 1 other opposing character within 2 squares of the chosen character. So you got like a little chain lightning effect there, 2 penetrating, 2 penetrating. Not too bad. I feel like just a regular penetrating energy explosion could be better. But, if they're not adjacent, then this one does definitely come in handy because they can be up to 2 squares away. But all in all, yeah, it's kind of just like a penetrating energy explosion that only hits 2 characters. But up next, the trick arrow E, or the USB arrow, has effect on reveal instead of normal damage, destroy an equipment equipped to each hit character. The cool thing there is it says each hit character. So if you have like triple target, you run in there, you triple target, hit all of their equipped characters, boom, boom, boom. You can, instead of normal damage, destroy all of their equipment, which, at that point, you'd score the points for all of their equipment, which is pretty great. So, definitely has its uses. And you're denying your opponent all of their equipment effects, which is really good. So the USB arrow, one of the best arrows in my opinion. But then arrow F, or too dangerous, says on reveal, choose a hit character. Instead of normal damage, deal 3 damage to the chosen character and all characters adjacent to them, and then knock back each damaged character at 1 square. So pretty great. It's like a bigger energy explosion, 3 damage and knockback. Gotta love it. Really, really strong energy explosion effect. And last but not least, arrow G is the big arrow. On reveal, choose a square adjacent to a hit target. After resolutions, this character may use Quake as free, as if they occupied the chosen square. And after resolutions, generate a blocking terrain marker in that square. In my opinion, this is by far the best arrow. So not only do you do your normal attack, but on top of that, you then get a free Quake that could then potentially also deal some knockback damage, and you get to put a really inconvenient blocking terrain marker. And that just sits there. It doesn't have like any way to remove it, so they'll have to either pick it up with super strength or, destroy it or something, or just move around it. But you could end up blocking lines of fire and, stuff like that, which is really cool. And that's all the arrows. My favorites all around, like I said, the big arrow is my favorite arrow by far. Too dangerous, I think, is another great one. That really big, 3 damage energy explosion and knockback, super awesome. USB is my next favorite arrow. Destroying all equipment of hit characters can be super good sometimes. After that, the other 4 honestly just kind of feel a little situational. Like, none of them are necessarily bad, but none of them are necessarily amazing in all situations either. Like, there are definitely some uses where slowing somebody down with the putty arrow or tokening your opponent's team with the sonic arrow might be good options to slow them down and, you know, help you out. One thing I will say, though, is that you only get 3 of them. So unless you're playing Lucky the Pizza Dog, which we'll take a look at in the rares, where he can kind of reload your arrows, you don't have any way of getting these arrows back. You just got 3 shots with them and you're done. On one hand, I don't really like that, but on the other hand, you know, it makes sense. You run out of your trick arrows halfway through a fight. And I mean, if I'm being honest, getting 3 attacks off is probably about as much as you're gonna get in a normal game anyway. So I guess it doesn't really make that big of a difference anyway. But yeah, some really cool equipment. And like I said, you know, if you do get 3 of it, you can pretty much just play 3 of your favorite arrow. So if you want to play 3 big arrows, you can just do that and, you know, have fun with it. But anyway, last but not least here, number 16 in the set. I don't know why they awkwardly put the arrows like the next to last of the commons, but Wong is our final common in the set, and he is coming in at 40 points, has Mystics team ability, Avengers, Celebrity, and Mystical keywords, has a trait that other characters can't use Mystics, including friendly characters. So that is pretty great if you're worried about Mystics. Like if you have a friend that plays a lot of Mystics or something, or maybe your team doesn't have anybody with Invincible, so you're worried, you know, if there is a team with a bunch of Mystics, you get torn up by all that extra damage coming back to you. Well, have no fear. Wong is here. He's going to stop all of your opponent's Mystics. It just kind of sucks because it's like you don't want to play him with other Mystics because it's going to shut off all their Mystics. So you really want to put him on just the right kind of team, like an Avengers team with no other Mystics would be pretty good, or Celebrity even as well. But yeah, he's got Phase Teleport and Flight, so really mobile. He's got TK and Prob, and some Energy Shield Deflection, 3 range, so he can make some kind of range attacks. For 40 points, you know, not too bad. TK and Prob are great. You can carry somebody around with the Flight and the phasing. And if he gets hit, you know, take a Mystics. And just shutting off all Mystics is very situationally good. So that's going to do it, you guys, for the commons. That is my 2 cents on each of them. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions about them in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed the video or got anything out of it, don't forget to smash the like button. It does help me out a lot. And don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more, don't forget to check the links in the description for the Patreon, or hit the join button down there for the YouTube memberships. Either way, for as little as $1 a month, you get entered into my monthly giveaways, and you get to see your name here in the credits with all these other awesome people. So check that out if that interests you, but that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.